Um, Let me ask you some questions first. Who was Abraham Lincoln?
He was a president of the United States.
Okay. Recently, or what do you know about him?
A long time ago.
All right. And what are the evils of slavery?
Well, Abraham Lincoln tried to stop slavery, and, well, I don't think it's really right because it's not fair.
Okay. What's not fair about it?
Well, you can't really just split people up by how they look, so.
Okay. Why was the Civil War fought?
For slavery.
Okay. And what were the results of the Civil War?
The North one.
Okay. And what did that mean when the North won?
That they couldn't have any more slaves.
Okay. Let's just read this one last part. Here it is. Can you?
When Abraham Lincoln...
Hang on one second. Do you mind if I run Charles right down the block? I mean, it's right around the block.
No problem at all. We're just gonna finish this one passage. I think this will be the last.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, that's okay.
When Abraham Lincoln was 19 years old, he visited the city of New Orleans. He saw things he would never forget. He saw black people being sold in slave markets. They were chained together and treated like animals. Lincoln watched little children being sold to strangers and taken away from their parents. Lincoln was heartbroken, and these memories stayed with him for the rest of his life. Although slavery was allowed in many states of the Union, Lincoln believed that it was wrong, and he was not afraid to say so. In 1858, Lincoln ran for the United States Senate against Stephen Douglas. There was much talk about slavery. Should the ownings of slaves be allowed in new states that were just coming into the Union? Douglas said that the decision to own slaves was up to each individual person. Lincoln said that slavery must not be allowed to spread because it was wrong, but he knew that it would not be easy to end slavery in those states that had allowed it for so many years. Lincoln believed it was important to keep the United States strong. He felt that slavery weakened the country. In one speech, he said the country could not last half slave and half free. He said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." Lincoln lost the election to the Senate, but he became well known for his views. In 1860, he ran for President of the United States. The slave states opposed Lincoln as president. They did not want to abolish slavery. They threatened to leave the Union if Lincoln was elected. When he became president, the slave states carried out their threat. A terrible war broke out between the northern and southern states. At times, members of the same family were fighting against one another. In 1863, Lincoln gave an order called the Emancipation Proclamation, which ended slavery. The war finally ended 2 years later. The southern states once more became part of the Union, but slavery was no longer allowed. No more would little children be torn apart from their parents and sold to strangers. Abraham Lincoln had achieved his goals.
Okay. Very well read. Okay, so let's go and let me ask you some questions here. What was Abraham Lincoln's main goal?
To stop slavery.
Okay, name one thing that Abraham Lincoln saw in the slave markets of New Orleans.
He saw little black children being separated from their family.
Okay, and how did the sights of the slave market influence Abraham Lincoln's later life?
He decided that he would try to stop slavery.
What office did Abraham Lincoln run for against Douglas?
Senate.
And what did the southern states threaten to do if Abraham Lincoln was elected president?
They would join the Union
Okay. And why did the Southern states oppose President Abraham Lincoln as president?
because they wanted slaves.
Okay. And, well, tell me, well, why did they oppose him as president, though?
Because he didn't want slaves, but they did.
Okay. And how did Abraham Lincoln's prediction, a house divided against itself cannot stand, come true?
Because if half of the United States is allowing slaves and half isn't, then it can't really stay together.
Okay. And what did the Emancipation Proclamation do?
It stopped slavery.
Okay. All right. I want you to read silently this next passage.